What's up guys, my name is Tillman Tate and this is my jet engine project. Okay, so before I start talking about the jet engine a little more and going in depth on what I've done on it so far, it is an incomplete project and I'm still working on it. I started it about right after Christmas time because that's when I got my first parts in for Christmas, and so I worked on that for a while. So I got a lot of progress done in the first couple weeks or so, and then I kind of hit a dead end for a while, and I kind of picked it up in quarantine again. So I'm hoping to have it done in the next couple weeks. Still got a lot of work that needs to be done to it. I gotta put all the fuel systems and stuff on it and finish working out like some of the tubing and stuff whatnot, but I'm figuring all that out right now. And so yeah, here is all of what I've done so far. Okay, so the first subsystem I'll go over is oil. Normally I'd go over fuel, I guess, because that's the most important, but that's actually really the only one that hasn't had anything done to it yet. So my next video I'll actually be working on building that fuel system. But for now, here's the oil system. And I've got a galvanized steel tank for holding all the excess oil. And I hand soldered that together. It took a little while, but it's watertight, so it's all good. And so then that comes out here and it goes into the oil cooler I made, which is actually just part of a dehumidifier unit. It's like the condenser for the refrigeration part of it. So there's two of those things and I separated them and made one from that, and I just have the other one shown. And so it goes out of that into my oil pump, which then goes over to this T, and this little black line is for my oil pressure sensor, which is over here with a couple other sensors, which are it's a basic little car kit I got online. So you got water temp, voltage, I'm not in the view, and then your oil pressure. And so I'll get back to some of that other stuff in a minute. And then you've got your tee off, which goes all the way to right here. And this part took a little while to design up or just figure out, really, because I was having trouble. I was trying to find an adapter. This is a 4AN thread, and that's a 7/16 by like 20 or 24 or something. And so that really threw me for a loop for a while. And so that's why I kind of stopped working on the project for a little bit. But I kind of figured it out, and I've got there's a piece, I've got some flat bar, quarter-inch flat bar, which is, this part's threaded for this tube. And then there's two pieces of quarter-inch flat bar welded together. One is threaded for the bottom fitting, and the other is threaded for the top fitting, so they can fit together, and now there's no oil leaks, so that's pretty epic. And so then I guess next I'll go to the spark system. Okay, so for spark I'm going to start here, which is kind of like the distribution block where you've got your signal in for your oil and spark. So it's just a 12-volt line in for each of them. And then I've got a negative distribution block, so all these are connected together. And then this one's actually split, so the top half is for spark and the bottom half is for oil. So it's positive for the oil on the bottom two and positive for spark on the top two. And that goes out and up to this little thing I've got up here. Oh, my gimbal. It goes out to this thing up here, which is a old CD drive thing, which is just used as a mount to put a bigger motor where the CD drive normally goes. What's going on? Hello. Oh, okay. Anyway, I'm gonna hold that now. Which goes to this thing, which is a part from a old automatic transfer switch, and so the motor spins it and it pulses the power to the transformer. And the reason I did this is because I don't know if I had a defective transformer, and so it wouldn't work with continuous voltage. You had to pulse it, and so that's why I made this whole thing. And this is like my 5th iteration of that, which I finally got working, and I put it in this little box that I added onto it. I have to restart my gimbal after this clip, but that'll be fine. Yeah, and so then the transformer actually broke, so that system's incomplete right now. It used to work a little, pretty much, But yeah, now I gotta buy a new component. So that might actually be deemed useless. So, and then I'll just do a quick overview of the water system now. Okay, so here's the water system. I kind of got this water pump I made up. And it's just a corded drill, which is attached to a drill little water pump, which I made like a little mounting bracket for. And so then this is the water outlet, which will go to get it over here, there on the turbo. So that's this horizontal one. There's one here, so I guess this will be the inlet. It doesn't really matter for this. And then I've got the outlet on the other side. I'm not 100% sure how necessary this is, because not all turbos have water cooling, just some do, and this happened to be one of them. So I don't know if I strictly have to use that, which is kind of why there's not a whole lot of effort into it. And then that's just a return line that'll go to most likely what will just be a bucket full of water if I actually do decide to use this system. And then of course I'm just going to stick in this temperature probe so I can get a little signal. And so yeah, I'll go over the electronics now. Okay, so here's the electronics. This is just my basic little control panel. You got your main power, oil, and spark, and then these two are empty, and then this isn't really useful. I kind of put this on here before I had my oil system up and running. So it actually does do stuff. It just is a little resistor, basically, a variable resistor. But it's really useless, so I just have it on full power the whole time, because doesn't really do anything. And so then when I flip my main power switch on, the whole system will turn on. There's obviously spark. I mean, that's just oil. And that does spark. So to get power for the whole thing, I've got a 120 volt line coming in, and it goes in the bottom, and it goes over into here, and there's actually like distribution, like fuse box basically for what's an AC unit. I don't know if you guys can see in there. Oh yeah, they're the fuses. You can see them. And my gimbal's freaking out. Okay, very good. And so then after that, it goes to this switch right here. And then these two outlets are actually not hooked up to anything. And then this switch controls the bottom two, which happen to go to my power supplies. And the reason why it's like that is because I actually got this box with some of the components in it from my engineering school class. And they were just part of another hydroponics project, actually, a control unit for that whole thing. So that never really worked out. So my teacher was going to throw it out, and so I just asked for it, and he gave me the whole box. So I was able to use some components from that. I added this screen right here, and I put like all the power supplies and stuff. But basically, all the 120 volt stuff is what I kept. So these two actually go out, and ironically, the Xbox 360 power supply cable goes to the ATX power supply for a computer. And then there's the regular one, just power supply is the one that goes to the Xbox 360 power supply. So yeah, there's two power supplies in here, a full-size computer one, and then an Xbox 360 power supply, and they're wired together in parallel, so I can have enough wattage to run all of my systems, like oil and spark, pretty much. And then hopefully potentially some electronic sensor stuff in the future, which I've experimented in the past, which is why there's some spare wires coming out the top here, which was supposed to be for a display, but I was encountering issues with like data loss, because I think it's just voltage drop on the data lines for the Arduino, so none of the screen wasn't actually able to display any of the correct information that was supposed to. And so it's kind of got a mess of wires in there, which I plan on cleaning up in the future. Yeah, it's got like a bunch of the computer power wires and stuff. So yeah, I guess now I'll do a basic little run through of the jet and what works so far. Okay, so here's a run through on just starting the jet up for what works so far. This is basically just an electronic system overview. So I flip my on switch, power comes on, those little lights come on. And then all the fan on the ATX power supply always turns on, so that's running right now. I don't know if you'll be able to hear that. Maybe, who knows? We'll find out in post. But so I'll run through and start up the oil system first. So I'm gonna put my camera down in there, because you'll be able to see. Now actually I can't really run it for long right now, because you see on that fitting right here, this is where I'm currently having issues. It actually leaks a little bit when I run it for too long, so I can pulse it and it'll be fine. I can run it for like half a minute, but then it'll start dripping. But yeah, here's that. And you'll actually be able to see oil start coming out of the turbo. There you go. That's just the drain. And yeah, you can see that running through. And then I can show the beginnings of the spark system. Go up. Okay, here's the spark. So that's just rapidly pulsing. And so yeah, and then in the next video, I will actually start showing me working on it a little bit. So see you guys.